Welcome, Jump Junkies, Skip Fanatics, and Rope Masters. We've hit episode 21, which means the Jump Rope podcast is officially coming of age. And who better to celebrate with than the one and only Kathy Jumps? Kathy joined me to talk about jump rope fails, epic unlocks, gear, the mental health magic of skipping, and why some of us need protective eyewear to survive the sport. We cover everything from her 100-day streak that's nearing 2,000 days, her OG work with the jump rope dudes and with cross rope, and how her learning style informs her teaching and coaching, and how much practice is too much. Happy little skip sessions, people. Oh, and did I mention bears? Because somehow those make an appearance too. So grab your ropes, double check your safety goggles, hydrate, and strap in for a laugh-filled, high-energy jump into Kathy's world. Yeah. And who else can you talk to jump rope about with the same level of fervor and zeal? I mean, at least for me, my family, they're like, oh yeah, that's that crazy thing that Dizzy does, but
it's not a lie. And you could tell when people's eyes kind of start glassing over because, just like the general public when I start talking about jump rope. So this is a good audience.
Right. And heaven forbid you throw the acronyms in there like, I just did a TS or a whatever.
Forget
and
it.
they're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is a big womp womp.
Yeah. Well,
oh my gosh.
Kathy Zetelski, thank you so much for joining me on the Jump Rope podcast, the newly renamed Jump Rope podcast.
I saw that. I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you here. I thought I would start by telling you a few things that I really love about you and what you do online. One is that I love that you share your difficulties. I've said this in podcasts before, but it's so nice to see really glam, well put together jump rope reels where everybody pulls off all the tricks. But it's also super satisfying to see people who you respect smack themselves in the face with the jump rope or fall down or stuff like that. And you've shared a lot of those reels. I love the one, like there's one where you wake up next to the puppy and you're like, why do I have a lump on my head?
And I know that was the truth. I swear to you, that reel was based on real life because I was like, I have a zit, like an underground, those underground zits that really hurt. Oh. And then I was like, no, I can't, it's in a weird spot. And then what happened was I went to jump that day and I did that stinking backward EB toad and it smacked me in the same spot. And I have video of it, of me going, that's where it is. That's where it came from.
You got the smack and the light bulb came off at the same time.
And then I realized that in fact was not a zit. That was the mark from the rope that it just got me in the same spot. That's when I broke out the goggles. I was like, enough. I'm not playing around.
That one killed me. Like your kids' goggles, your kids' lab goggles.
I didn't even have an adult-sized pair, but it was just so cold that day, and I just couldn't do it. So I was jumping inside. I usually wear the sunglasses, and it's funny because people think, and I'll set the record straight, I don't think I'm some cool, I wear them for eye protection.
Yeah.
And I did a reel about this too, because some woman was like, what are you trying to hide behind those sunglasses? What's behind there? And I'm like, and it's for my eyeballs. People don't understand if they don't jump or if they don't jump backward. That rope is it's a direct line to your eyeball. And I've gotten hit. And I thought I blinded myself one time. And it's just glasses all the time and those safety goggles.
You should have just responded, I'm a cyborg and I didn't want anybody to know.
I should have.
Yeah.
People can be weird, but have you ever gotten smacked in the eye or the face? Yeah, I think those are the worst. It's just it stuns you.
Exactly. I mean, the number of times I've smacked myself in the back of the head going forward, skipping real fast and doing crosses and pulling out too far or something. Yep. I mean, you're doing the same thing just backwards in your eyes.
It's this direct line right there.
Yeah, it's line of sight. Absolutely. One of the things I love about your reels is that you share the joy and encouragement of jumping rope. You have a great way of radiating positivity and happiness in your videos. And I think that's one of the things that is just a cornerstone of this community. And you just are so good at that. And also you have this reel that I saw earlier today. I was kind of poking through and you had encouragement to jump and you had a statement in there that was like, when was the last time you felt proud of yourself as an adult? And when you do jump rope and you accomplish these things, you feel proud. And oh my God, that resonated with me so much because that's totally true.
When you unlock those tricks, especially as adults, because if you think about growing up where kids were teenage years, you're doing sports or, whatever it may be. But as an adult, that's the thing. When was the last time you felt super proud of yourself for doing something? I mean,
Right.
and those unlocks are just, I mean, we all know just that elated feeling is just unmatched. It's not like anything you feel ever experience.
I know. It's like a drug. It's totally
It
a
is.
drug.
We're all high on jump rope out here.
I know. I am. Yeah. You also have some really fun phrases in your videos, like one where I think you're explaining crosses and you're encouraging people to have Gumby wrists, and then have a little video of Gumby on
My
the
little
screen.
Gumby that like flew by.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I like to have fun when teaching. Like I want people to just enjoy it and have fun when doing this. It shouldn't be like I just want people to have fun, really. So when I say those things, I'm just trying to get a laugh out of people, you know?
Yeah.
So hopefully that works.
Yeah. That one. And then also when you're explaining releases, you're talking about how you dip and you do this little dipperoo, the dipperoo. So now every time I do releases, I'm going to be telling myself, do the dipperoo, Dizzy.
Yeah, do the little dipperoo. My favorite, that reel that I made with the Mick release. I don't know if you saw the whole thing where I edited myself flying through space.
Yeah.
That was, I was laughing at myself. I'm like, I have a problem because I thought that was so funny. Because people, a lot of the times you're doing your release and they just toss it to outer space. And I was like, you just get a rocket, float right up to outer space because that's where it's going.
I think your point was like, don't do this out of what was it? Don't do it out of a jump or a cross or something, because then when you throw it,
a lot of times when drilling the Mick release, when people are learning, they'll just stand still and just they'll swing side to side, side to side. And then when they release it, you're on that trajectory of those swings. So it just, it goes off kilter.
To outer space.
And then it's hard because, outer space. And the second question I get with the Mick release is, why can't I jump through it? And that comes down to that trajectory of the rope going that way. It has to be right next to you. So, that's it.
Yeah. You also have a phrase that I came upon, which was the 3 Ps, the patience, perseverance, and practice. And that is just everything with jump rope, isn't it? Like,
it absolutely
that just encapsulates it all for me.
I can't even, because we all want to learn it super quick, you know?
Yeah.
And as much as we all want to learn it in one day, the chances of that happening are slim. So, you have to have the patience, or else you're not going to stick with this for the long term. You have to have the perseverance, not the long term, and practice. You just got to show up every day.
Yeah. And it's those wins that you get when you do land something that give you that little, I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to do it. If I can do that, I can do that.
Yep. You get the little taste of success, and then that's why it's a drug. That's why it's just so addicting. It's so addicting in a good way, in a very good way.
Also, finally, I will say that you did a masterful job of working in Michael Scott's That's What She Said into an instructional video.
Yes. Success. I've made it.
Yeah.
The Office is that's my favorite show of all time.
Oh my God. Michael Scott is such a gem.
Oh my gosh. I can't. I could watch that series. I mean, I have over and over. It will never get old.
Yeah, me too. All the outtakes and everything. It's just amazing. It's a work of art.
It really is. It really is. And a lot of that is improv with The Office. There's a lot of just banter back and forth that, it's so good.
Yeah.
That's another
Steve
podcast.
Carell is a genius. Yeah. You're right. It is another podcast. And in fact, I think a few of the ladies from The Office have a podcast of their own.
Oh, do they? Yeah. That's funny.
So, Kathy, where are you located in the world?
I am in New Jersey, northern New Jersey, because a lot of people, I think, when they think of New Jersey, think like the Jersey Shore. I am not like the Jersey Shore people. However, Vinny jumps. Have you Vinny from the Jersey Shore? He has a jump rope account. He does jump rope.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm northern Jersey, where I'm basically in the woods. So I don't know if you've seen a lot of my reels with like the bears popping out. It gets pretty wild. There's a lot of bears, and now's the time. I even told my kids, I was like, because it was a warm day today, this is when they're starting to come out. So we'll see if I catch another on my camera, because I've gotten them walking through as I'm jumping.
Crazy.
It's insane. It's insane. Yeah.
As you're jumping, do they just nonchalantly walk by?
The one I have like a sixth sense. Like I knew I could just like feel there was something.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm jumping, I have my headphones in, which can be pretty dangerous. I want to look into those headphones that have you heard, they're like open headphones?
Yeah.
That's something I probably should get for safety, but I just turned around and he's just like lumbering up the driveway, coming up the stairs where my mats are. And in my reel, because I edited it all together, it's pretty funny. You could see me like, and I threw my rope, ran past the camera, and then he just like popped up, and yeah, I filmed him like going around my jump ropes and on my mat, like coming up to the window.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we live with the Bears in New Jersey.
Yeah.
But I love it here. It's great.
That's cool. Have you been there all your life?
Yeah. Grew up here.
Cool.
Stayed here. Yeah. Went to college here. So,
Wowza.
yeah.
So I normally ask about people's profession. I think this is what you do for a job now, right?
Mm-hmm. It is.
This is your career.
Yeah,
This is so cool.
So I went to school. Yeah, it is the best job in the world. I went to school. It's funny because I went to school undecided and I took so many classes. I ended up graduating with 2 bachelors. So I have a psychology degree and a nutrition degree. So
Wow.
when I was working, my desk job was nutrition counseling. So I did that for years and years. I also taught group fitness. I taught spinning. And that's where jump ropes really started for me, because I used to teach boot camp classes. And one of the stations I always had was jump rope. At the time, I don't know what, I was just like, I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I like to think I'm pretty athletic, but looking back, it was very, not great. But yeah, jump rope became full time in 2020, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. So why did you take the leap, or what afforded you to take the leap?
Well, at the time I was working from home. So that nutrition counseling job I had, I used to work in a doctor's office. And then when I had my kids, the office allowed me to work from home. So it was great. I was calling people, and, I did a lot of like my Fitness Pal work where I could see people's food logging. I enjoyed it. It was great.
Oh, cool.
But then it kind of didn't allow me the time to do what I really wanted to do. And that kind of segues into jump rope, because my first jump rope job was working for the jump rope dudes. So I worked, I worked for them for close to two years, I want to say. A year and a half, maybe?
Okay.
2 years. And then
What did you do for them?
I was their community manager. I ran their Facebook groups, because that's the thing. Like, I know a lot of people started jumping in 2020, but believe it or not, there was a big group over on Facebook before Instagram, JRC existed. So we were all on Facebook. And so I moderated those groups and, answered DMs, posted for them. Yeah. Whatever they asked me to do, I would do. It was fun.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. They're the OGs, honestly. They're the best. And they're such good guys too.
Nice.
Dan is just one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does your day-to-day look like now?
So now it's, I do a lot of work for Cross Rope. And obviously, I have all my ropes down here just in case, because I don't know if you ever jumped with weighted ropes before. I was listening to some of the podcasts with some of the guests talking about weighted ropes. So I have kind of my work with Cross Rope, and then I have my subscription in Instagram where a lot of stuff goes down there. So I have over 100 people, and, I have workout programs, follow along workouts. So day to day, it's, what am I going to film today? What am I going to post? What am I going to do? And it's, basically that's it.
That's cool. So with the Instagram subscription, I noticed when I look at your Instagram profile, there's a subscribe button. And if I click that, then I can join your community. What does it look like to be part of that community?
So in that, and this is where, moving forward, I am going to start kind of changing things around. Number one, that subscription isn't available to everyone worldwide, which I didn't know. When it first launched, I was like, oh, this is great. Everything is right here, and then as time is progressing here, it's almost like your regular Instagram feed where I don't want things to get lost for people. You know what I mean? So you're scrolling. I don't want someone wasting time scrolling through countless amounts of videos trying to find a certain one. So moving in the future, this upcoming year, my plan is to take a lot of those videos and put them on my website in a much more organized fashion where people from wherever you live can join, subscribe there, because it does stink. I've gotten the messages like, Kathy, I want to subscribe, but it's not available in my country. So Yeah. But
I wonder what that's based on. It must
I
be
have
some sort of meta
I have
thing.
no idea. I have no idea. And then also, if you think about it, it was about 2 years ago. I went to sign into Instagram one day and just poof, my account was gone. I couldn't log in. The panic attack I had was unbelievable because if you think about all the years of hard work, all the videos I have, my gosh, just videos of my kids jumping, like, it was just so much. And I don't even to this day, no one really knows what happened. People from Meta were like taking accounts. I don't know. But if, as someone who's using that subscription feature, what happens if poof, it's gone one day? It's not great.
Got all your eggs in their basket. Yeah. So did you recover
Exactly.
that account or?
Yeah. After it was a couple days, I think it was like 4 or 5 days. Oh, actually, who was my shining light was Coach Chris. He knew someone that worked at Meta. Him, and there was also another woman, a friend of a follower who I connected with who worked at Meta. And between those two people, they were able to get my account back.
It's amazing.
But can you imagine for someone who didn't have that connection or, it was very stressful. It was very stressful. But
yeah,
but in my subscription, like I have a 20-day beginner program. I have like the one series I just finished it's kickboxing and jump rope, just fun stuff. Mm-hmm. I just want people to have fun when they work out. So that's what a lot of it is. And of course the tutorials, combos, skill of the week, trick of the day, all that kind of stuff.
So how often are you posting new content to it?
I would say maybe once or twice a week, depending. I mean, when I do these programs, it's almost every day. So I, put the next video out, and some of these videos are like 20-minute follow along workouts. But yeah, a few videos a week for sure.
Got it. So do you do coaching as well? Like personalized coaching?
So with the coaching, it's funny. I have 7 clients right now, and it usually happens in the DMs and the messages. Like someone will send me a message like, do you do coaching? I really need help. And that's when I'll like talk to them, and then we'll kind of figure out if they want coaching, and that's when I take people on. So I don't really broadcast it because I don't want to get overloaded. I don't want to burn out, and I like to keep it pretty small. So yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But it's fun. I love teaching.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you have the ultimate lifestyle job.
Oh yeah. It's great.
It's awesome.
It's definitely great.
So I'm curious, like you put out so much great content. What's your process for deciding what to put out next? Are you getting a lot of feedback or requests from your community?
It's funny because when I'm on calls with Crossrope too, they always ask me like, oh, what kind of content do you have planned? I can't even tell you. When I go out, this is how my brain works. When I go out to jump, I do my workout, I'm jumping, and then I might do something and then think like, oh, I'm going to let me do a tutorial on it, or let me, start filming and do a combo. So I usually figure it out when I'm on my mat outside or inside. I don't have like a content calendar. I'm not planning in advance really. It's either maybe I saw an influx of comments, people saying the same thing they want to learn, or just something comes to me outside. Yeah. Very sporadic. I have a sporadic brain.
Yeah. But your content is so great. I love how clear and step driven everything is. Like you break everything down into steps, and you do a great job of explaining not just what to do, but not what not to do. Like when you do crosses, you're going to want to, but keep it in here. And that's,
how the biggest teacher are my videos from 6 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yes. So when I look back at my videos from when I started, that is what you don't want to do. And that's why I put all that stuff into what's happening now, because I wish I knew this stuff when I started. Like, why didn't anyone tell me what I was looking at? Like with my arms out here and crossing like a maniac, like muscling it. My arms are like this. Why didn't anyone,
Why do my shoulders kill me?
Oh gosh. The old videos are, and so I'll watch those and think to myself, that's what not to do. People need to know these things because I wish I knew at the time.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think you've been pretty vocal about making fitness accessible to people. And I'm curious, how do you plan jump rope workouts for people who might find it intimidating? You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, I think especially someone, imagine pulling up Instagram and searching jump rope and you see these insane videos of just all of these people. And it can be very daunting because it's pretty rare to see a video of someone doing basic bounce, like it's pretty rare. I mean, just like what a beginner would do. So it's just, we were all beginners once. And that's what I say to everyone. Like, you just have to start less thinking, more doing, pick up a rope. It could be any rope. And you just have to start slow and start smart, because I know a lot of us, you get that itch and then you just jump for far too long and you're done. You're done for.
Yeah. I did that. I was done for a couple months. Yeah.
Were you?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I gave myself plantar fasciitis really bad from jumping too much, not warming up, not listening to my body, getting to the point where I could only jump on one foot and going, okay, I'll just do this for a bit.
Why didn't I talk to you then?
I know, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, it's fun. It's a fun exercise. So of course, we want to do it, for a long period of time, but you got to stop at that 5 minutes as a beginner.
It's tough. Part of my problem is I love music so much, and I put on music and then, a song is 5 minutes. Right. Yeah. You get lost and, I got to do it just one more time. Just one more time.
I know. Or the next song comes on. It's like, oh, this song was even better than the last one. I got to keep going.
I had no idea. I put this on the playlist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What are some common struggles or misconceptions you find that people who are new to jump rope have?
I think one of the biggest ones is you have to learn everything right away.
Sure.
And this goes back to my start. I did basic bounce and boxer skip for a year. I did a couple crosses, maybe, but the amount of time I just spent just showing up and putting those reps in, just regular jumping. And I really credit that to just being able to be smoother and understand how these tricks work now, because I just focused on that form first. But as far as tricks, you have to start with the basics, fundamentals, learn the core 4 basic footwork moves before starting to shuffle or running man backwards. Just got to take it slow, one step at a time. And you don't have to learn everything at once.
Yeah. I love your footwork. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
But it seems like when you're illustrating it, you always start with just kind of holding the rope. Like you're showing the footwork. When you're learning new footwork, do you get it down before you introduce the rope?
Yeah, usually. I think that's usually best, especially for, when there's complex moves or compound footwork where you're combining all these different steps. Our brain, think of the 2 hemispheres. That's what I always tell people, this side is focusing on what your feet are doing. This side is focusing on what your arms are doing. So practice them independently before bringing them together. I find that's where you'll have the most success.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially complex, any complex footwork where you're combining a couple skills together. Yeah, you got to practice it. Footwork first and then add the rope in.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that my tendency is to want to just get it done, just throw everything in the bowl and start, whipping. But I always do better if I can kind of work out the footwork and then slowly introduce stuff. And to speak to what you were saying about doing basic bounce and boxer skip for so long, I did something similar. I mean, I did some shuffling and stuff too, but I did not try to go out and learn all of the tricks at once. I just loved working on footwork, and I loved jumping to music. And I think it gave me a better sense of rhythm and innate feeling of where the rope is, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. For sure. And I think that it's so important. It's so important because you can tell, you could spot it a mile away when someone's just, they want to just get all these skills in, and it doesn't look like they're having the fun because they're just so concerned with getting the tricks and,
Right.
I'm just such a fan of just easy breezy, enjoy it. You put on your music and sometimes you just got to stop thinking so much.
Yeah.
And just, go with the flow a little bit.
Yeah. That's my motto is don't think.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Turn your brain off.
That's right.
That's when this is really, really enjoyable.
Yeah. So I'd love to talk gear with you too. I know you have a Kathy Jumps rope, don't you? Is that through cross rope?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would you like to see it?
I would love to see it. As a matter of fact, I have a friend who has one, and she was showing me hers. Yeah.
I have my beaded rope, but my pride and joy is really like the weighted rope system. So it's the 1 pound and the half pound, but the handles are just, so it's the Jump Rope is Life logo, the shirt I'm wearing with like the sun.
Okay.
So it's, yeah, you see how the sunshine is kind of integrated in there, and then you got like the logo there.
Yeah.
And then, those ropes clip in. So half pound and the 1 pound, and then my beaded rope. But,
are the cross ropes as easy to release?
No.
They're
hefty. So and the other thing with it is the handles with this attachment, the metal, clip.
Ball bearings and stuff.
Yeah. If you look at it, it's this thing in itself. If this clocks you in the head, forget you're down.
Right.
You're down. So I tell people, if you want to do releases with the weighted ropes, you have to be able to get your release with a beaded, eyes closed. Like you should be very proficient. And if and when you try with the cross rope, do it on grass or like some sort of mat, because you don't want to break those handles.
And
they're
3
expensive.
pairs of safety goggles, right? 3
and
pairs.
Lots, a helmet, a face shield.
Football, yeah.
Yeah. An umpire, like what are those vests, those puffy vests?
Right, yeah. Just basic hockey gear.
Yes, that's it. That's
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because with the weighted rope, you have to whip it with a lot more force because it's got that weight to it. So there's a finesse to it, but it's a powerful feeling when you catch that.
Yeah. One of the things I saw in one of your videos, and I've been chatting about this to other people, and you said it just really succinctly, was that the heavier ropes give you more feedback, and so it can make learning tricks easier.
Yeah.
And that was totally my experience, where I got a heavier beaded rope, and like these crosses I was having trouble with, I was doing 1 or 2 and then tripping up. I got this heavier rope and like 8 or 10, and like, oh wow.
It's such a misconception where people think the weighted rope, it works 2 ways. The first way is it's great for a beginner, whether it be like a weighted beaded, or I always recommend like the half pound, because you can just feel where the rope is. And especially with the crosses, it's slower. It's it's just like dragging through the air. So it just gives you that extra millisecond that you might need to know where to go.
Yeah. There
was this one woman that I had been coaching, and she had a hard time jumping over the rope one time. Like she couldn't understand how to get it. She used a 1 pound rope, and she was getting like 20 in a row.
Nice.
Because it was just moving so slow, and she was able to actually see where it's coming. And it just, it just made it so much easier. So there's that aspect to it. But also, if anyone wants to get faster, if you want to get quick double unders, if you even want to like unlock a double under, use a weighted rope first, because you will be very surprised at what a PVC feels like after doing double unders with a weighted rope. It's like a piece of dental floss. You're like,
right. You feel like Superwoman, right?
Yeah. It's such a good training tool for just getting faster too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love jumping with a heavier rope, then going down to a beaded, then going to a PVC. And
you feel like a superhero.
You hardly even have to pick your feet up off the floor. You're going so fast. Right?
It's awesome. I love that. Yeah. I always compare it to dental floss, because it's so, especially going to like a 4 millimeter PVC after like a 1 pound rope, or to show you, a 5 pound rope.
Whoa. Yeah. That is something that looks like a piece of plumbing equipment.
It looks like it's bigger than a garden hose. I used it once just to say I did it. That thing is a killer.
Yeah.
There's no need for anyone to get a 5 pound rope.
Yeah. So you started in 2017?
Yeah. So I had like toyed around with a jump rope before, but when I really started was 2017. I had my daughter, and I was a runner for years and years and years. Like I ran the New York City Marathon. I would do like running streaks. Like I was, really, really big into running, because that was like my mental escape, was running. So when I had my daughter, I had put on a lot of weight, because I was in the fitness industry for so long. I always maintained when you're a personal trainer I hate to say it, but I wanted to look a certain way. And I maintained my weight for years. And then when I got pregnant, I gave myself that green light to just whatever I wanted. I ate it, a lot of it. So I gained like 70 pounds with that pregnancy. So after I had her, you know, I got the clearance to start exercising and put on my running shoes, went outside, and it was horrible. Like the weight on it was just, I was like, I can't, this is just so painful. But also I had a newborn, so I couldn't put her down for a nap and go running around the neighborhood. So I started making little stations for myself. I would put her down for a nap. I had my spin bike, I had a jump rope, and then I had an elliptical at home. So I would spend 5 minutes on the spin bike, 5 minutes with my jump rope, and then 5 minutes on the elliptical. And then I would, you know, just rotate. And that's what I did. And then slowly but surely, the spin bike got phased out. The elliptical went into the attic, and that, because I always looked forward to the jump rope interval. I was like, I want to, you know, and then that just became it. And I was like, I wonder if I could do like tricks and like, what do you think I could do with this thing? And I looked it up, and that's when, you know, I found the jump rope dudes and their whole community on Facebook, which is what they had at the time. And I met some amazing people who I don't know do you know Papa Joe?
Yeah.
I've known him since 2017. He's been like, I've known him forever. He is one of
No kidding.
I love him. Yeah, he's the best.
I love him too. He comments on my videos a lot. He's such a nice guy.
Such a nice person. He's just
from down under.
Yes. And there's a few, and I keep in touch with a lot of them. Some of them have kind of stopped jumping, but we had a very, very close group on Facebook. And I got pregnant with my son in 2018. And then after I had him, that's when I started the 100-day streak, which was November 25th. November 25th, I was like, you know what? I got the clearance. I'm going to jump rope for 100 days. I'm just going to, you know, let me do this. And I've been itching to get back because, you know, I had jumped for years before and I just wanted to get started. And I posted every day in that Facebook group. I posted every day. I had an old Instagram account, my personal account, where I just annoyed people, I think. Just every day, you know, like people I went to high school with, they don't care. Like, what is she doing? But I posted it, you know, even if I went the other day to my old personal Instagram account, one I haven't been on in forever, and I have a highlight 100 days, and I posted every day. I created a highlight. It's still there. Good. You know, it's pretty crazy. And then I credit being able to do that to Papa Joe, Claire's another one, Julie, these people in this Facebook group. We just all kept ourselves accountable. And a couple of them did the 100 days too. Mm-hmm. And then after the 100 days, I was like, I was going to keep going. And I never stopped.
Good.
So I've jumped every day for almost 2,000 days now. I'm almost at 2,000. I'm going to hit it in like 50 days. I just never stopped. I love it.
That's so amazing. You know, Papa Joe actually invited me, I think it was last week, to take part in the Jump for Joy 100 that PETA is organizing.
I saw the, yeah. Are you going to do it?
Yeah, I told him, he said, we need more dudes. There's like 3 of us. So I was like, all right, I'm in.
Do it. It's just fun. I remember that feeling. There's a video of it, that first, you know, 100 days I did. That day 100, I jumped it. And I was just like, I jumped for 100 days. I can't believe it. It's so crazy.
Yeah. When you were doing it, did you have any sort of agenda for each day, or was it just general jumping?
Just whatever I felt like doing.
That's so awesome.
And I always, the 5-minute rule, just try to get out, do something for 5 minutes. We all know it's going to be longer than that. And then there was one day where I had the worst stomach virus, and I just flipped the rope over and stepped over it. And I was like, I'm counting that.
Yeah.
I stepped over this rope. It's the principle of the matter. It's keeping the streak alive. Yeah. And yeah.
You had the willpower.
Exactly. The streak did not die that day.
So when you set up your exercise stations and everything lost out to jump rope, was it just the fun of jump rope, or were you actually realizing more benefits from jump rope than the other thing? It was just tools?
How do you describe it? It's just I just enjoyed it more. Like when when I was on the spin bike, I still was listening to music, but it just was like, pedaling to nowhere. I just, same thing, just wasn't as enjoyable. And even though I was just doing basic footwork, boxer skip, it was just the fun of it, but also learning it. I was a beginner then, and I was learning it, and that feeling of feeling accomplished was great. It was great.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, after I finished that 100 days, it was January of 2020. And I remember, because I felt like I was annoying all those people on my old Instagram account, I was like, you know what? Kathy jumps. I jump. I'm going to make this username, and, let me do that. So I made this Kathy Jumps account. And then, fast forward how many years later with all these people with the first name Jumps, I'm like, yeah. Like, it was just, no one had that. No one was the jump rope community didn't exist. But when I was like, Kathy Jump sounds pretty good. Let's go with that.
It's got a nice ring to it.
Got a nice ring to it.
Yeah. So it didn't take you long to fall in love with jump rope once you really started incorporating it into your
it was almost
routine.
Immediate. Yeah. And you know what? It was also the community aspect of it too. If you think about it, online, we had that jump rope dudes group on Facebook, and we all felt like family, which has now kind of moved over to Instagram. The Facebook groups are pretty non-existent, but there's just this community of people. You feel like these people, even though you may have never met them before, but you have these shared experiences. And it's great to have that community where we're encouraging everybody. And spinning didn't have that, I didn't have the spinning community.
Yeah.
So
there aren't people patting you on the back for your elliptical skills, right?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the
Look, I did another
community?
rotation.
Watch. We're going to look it up. There's going to be some like elliptical community.
Elliptical skipping community. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh.
So when you did start out, what were so you started with basic bounce and like boxer skip for a while, but when you started learning tricks, what were your biggest challenges?
So I didn't really know what was possible with a rope. It was only when I created that Instagram account that I was like, oh, let me search jump rope on Instagram. I never really did this before. And Mike Fry came up, Let's Jump LA, who's just, the goat of jump rope, creator of the Mick release. And he posted pretty frequently at the time. And he had these little, what did he call them? 1 minute tricks, or I can't remember what he called them. I think he still has them in a highlight. And that was the first time I ever saw someone do a toad. And I was like, what? You can put your arm under your leg? Like, because now Dan and Brandon from the jump rope dudes are more like fitness style jumping. So they focus, I think, maybe an EB swing, but they weren't doing those tricks at the time. So when I saw that, I was like, whoa, I did not know that was a thing. And the other person who was jumping also was Jimmy. Jimmy Says Relax, who another goat of like jump rope freestyle. And he was the first person I saw do the Mick release.
Okay.
And I was just like, this is insane. So there were a few people. Mimi was another one, just unbelievable. And that's when my mind was blown. And that's when I started learning some tricks. And it was, trial and error. I'm the type of person where, I don't know if you're the same way, but I struggled in school a lot growing up. I was a horrible test taker. I can't memorize things, which is why I can't do choreography. I can't watch a tutorial. It doesn't like enter my brain. I have to stand there and physically do it and kind of work it out. So there are hours upon hours of me just standing in front of a mirror and just trying to figure out how to do like an EB or an EB swing, without it like clocking me in the head. Because I could watch 15 tutorials, but just none of it made sense to me, So a lot of trial and error. But
are there specific types of skills that you've had more challenges with than others? I
think leg crosses are my kryptonite.
Yeah.
I feel like a stick bug when I do them because I'm almost 6 feet tall, and
oh wow,
my legs are quite long and lanky, and I'm like I just feel like a glom when I do it. Just I don't know. I've gotten better, and it's really funny because years ago I could go back in time and slap myself in the head. I would, but I said oh, I'll never do leg crosses. I don't like leg crosses. You know why? Because I couldn't do them. And that's why I said that.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do them. And I would feel frustrated. And, that kind of made me think like, I don't like them. But you know what I did when my Instagram account was taken away for those couple days? I didn't have to post. I had all this kind of time, and I learned every leg cross front and back. And that's what I did for those 4 days because I was frustrated. I was angry. I was upset. And I was like, I'm just going to learn like crazy things that I never really had the interest in learning.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun to do that. It really was.
That's cool.
So yeah. Leg crosses are those are the ones that get me.
It's funny because I just talked to Eddie Jumps, and I told him, I don't know if I'll ever be a toad guy.
Did you say that? I said those exact same words. Mark my words. If and when you learn it, your tune will change.
I know.
Your tune will change.
Like every video will be just riveting around.
Well, I used to call it crab walking. That's what I called that style of.
It does kind of look like that.
Yes. And will I ever throw them in a freestyle? Probably not. But I appreciate it now. I appreciate all those skills that I never wanted to do because they're challenging. They're really, I give credit to all those jumpers that are doing those leg crosses with ease because I'm a stick butt. A daddy long leg.
Going back to your progress with jump rope as well, like one of the things that I have found so remarkable about jumping rope is the mental health benefits that I've got from it.
Absolutely.
And I've talked to a whole bunch of mothers who, after having children or after children leaving the home, sort of realize similar benefits. Did that work the same for you?
Oh, yeah. So this is where, running, jump rope replaced that running because running for me was my meditative state to reduce anxiety and depression. So back in 2013, my little brother was killed in a hit and run in New York City. And from that point, I was looking for something. I needed something the state I was in was not good. So I started running, and running, I would go out and I wouldn't think about what happened. I wouldn't think about the tragedy. I wouldn't think about how I was feeling. I just would run and breathe fresh air, and I felt really, really good. So that's where when, after I had my daughter and I realized running isn't going to really work right now, what the heck am I going to do? Depression just doesn't go away. Anxiety just doesn't go away. And what I realized when I was jumping, especially jumping outside, fresh air, I got those same feelings and that same benefit, and I would black out almost and just not think about anything.
Yeah.
So when I tell you the mental health benefits are, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing with, this kind of goes back to, I think I mentioned choreography is hard for me because I can't really remember stuff very well, but the thing with choreography is it makes me have to think. And when I jump, I don't like to think. I like to turn my brain off and just kind of, exactly. Just get in that flow state and just kind of listen to my music. You know what it's like when you're just tuned into that music. And that's where I get those mental health benefits. When I try to do choreography, I get frustrated and I usually get discouraged, where when I'm in that flow state, I'm just free flowing, having the time of my life, on that jump rope high. So yeah, for anyone, whether it be depression, anxiety, the benefits that jump rope can give you is just, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think I even have the words to describe how much it's helped me,
Yeah, it's next level. And even when I ran, it jump rope is, I don't know, it's different. It's just different. The people talk about the runner's high, and I experienced that. It was all right.
Yeah.
But the jumper's high, man,
there's something badass about the bounce, isn't there?
Yes, that's it. That I like that. That should be your motto.
My motto. Yeah, I'll make a T-shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
When did you realize that you wanted to start teaching and coaching people to jump?
When even my old Instagram account, I had people, because Jump Rope Dudes did a video on my transformation, and I did get quite a few people following me over there, and everyone just wanted to learn. Like, how do you do that? How do you do this? So even back then I was, giving tips, and especially when I started the jump rope account, I wanted to describe tricks in a way that people could understand, because I have a hard time understanding. Yeah. So I wanted to really like break it down, and I don't know. It's just I just really like teaching, and then seeing someone unlock a trick. Oh, it's like it's the best. But what happened, and it stinks almost when your following starts growing. I loved it back in the day when I would send videos to everyone, and I'd respond to every single DM. There would never be a DM that I didn't respond to. But after a couple of years, it got harder and harder, and it pains me to like not open everyone's DMs. But it hit a point where, I was on my phone all the time, and my kids are there, and I was too busy responding to everybody. And then I took a step back. I was like, I gotta let something slide here.
Yeah.
Which stinks, because I just love teaching. So that's where I always tell people, come to my like subscription. I do live videos, and I bring people on the live videos. And that's where it's so, because you're engaging, and everyone's having a good time. I've had like 6 of us all on at one time, and it's just like a party, Sorry, I don't even remember what the question was. I think went off on a tangent.
I was curious, like, when did you realize, hey, I want to really teach people and coach people?
Okay, so that really came from the beginning of just giving these little tiny tips that helped people unlock a crisscross, or whatever the trick was. Just maybe something I said resonated with them, or it was a little bit different. And they were able to get it. And that's when I was like, maybe I'm okay at describing this stuff. And I got that bug to just want to teach it. Now, going back, what I would change is I would have focused on myself and my skills first, because I did have bad habits back in the day that I was teaching other people. So if I could go back in time, I would have told myself, Kathy, just put off teaching for a couple months, maybe a year. Focus on getting your skill set down immaculately before teaching other people. Because I specifically remember one video teaching the EB swing, and I was trying to describe to people how to bring it over your head. And I made that motion. And then I saw people doing the EB swing like that, where it should be tight, and I was like, I gave that advice. What was I doing? Little things like that. But just hearing the feedback from everyone saying, oh my gosh, I finally got it. I understand it. It's just, I love teaching. I just love it.
Well, your comments about, like not being able to learn choreography or having trouble learning choreography, and that makes so much sense with the way you teach, because you break everything down very step by step, and that's how you learn, and that's how you commit it to memory, is by doing it with experience. And
that's what it is.
That's why it resonates so much with me too.
Yeah, and just like you got to repeat this stuff over and over and over again. And if you think you did it too many times, do it like 100 more times.
Yeah.
And then you'll get to that point where you could just do it without thinking, and that's where I hope everyone can get to that point where you can just that flow state, where you don't have to think about what you're doing. It's a great feeling.
It is. One thing I've noticed a few times, especially in the recent past, is with just going out and jumping and flowing, is that there are footwork steps that I've seen other people do where I've thought, man, that's so cool. I would love to do that. And I never really worked on it. But when I get into a flow state where I'm really not thinking, sometimes I throw those things in almost subconsciously, and they work.
That's awesome.
And I think it's kind of like I've got my rope rhythm down, and I know how my feet work. And not that it always works, because I slap myself more than anything, but
But you've got that baseline set, and that's what you need. Yeah. And once you have that, you've laid all the bricks down now, then you can just keep layering and layering. And that's awesome. That's really,
do you find
cool.
that, like, it seems to me that as you get that baseline, it makes it easier to learn more skills. Like once you can, basic bounce without having to trip up every few, skips like I did in the beginning, then, it makes learning across easier, and it makes kind of advancing
and
easier.
That's step by step. Absolutely. Yeah. So you don't want to go from basic bounce to a TS. You know what I mean?
Right.
But someone who doesn't really know might be doing a basic bounce and then see a video of someone doing a TS and just jump over there. without even learning like a front cross first or, so
Yeah.
slow and steady.
Slow and steady. Yeah. You mentioned like developing your own community on your website and moving things over there. Are there other things that you're working on or excited about that are coming up for Kathy Jumps?
I think, well, the website is going to be pretty big. And then what kind of fell into my lap here, which is pretty amazing. So my son's school had a wellness week and they had an exercise day. And it's funny because all the teachers follow me on Instagram. So they all,
Nice.
know what I do. And they approached the principal. They were like, we have to have, let Kathy come in and do some jump rope stuff with the kids. So 225 kids ranging from ages 4 to 6. And I've never done an assembly before. I've taught my own kids, but I didn't have ever like hundreds of kids right in front of me. And when I tell you it was the freaking time of my life, because it combines everything that I love, right? Like jump rope, teaching. I always thought in another life I would be like a kindergarten teacher. I love kids. And it was just their excitement and just, oh my gosh, it was on another level. That sounds
like so much fun.
It was amazing. I broke them up in different groups. We played games. They enjoyed it. And then even I had parents sending me messages like through like the class. It's called Dojo. It's like a, like messaging within parents. With the parents, and they were like, so-and-so wants to get a jump rope. What should I get? And I was like, I got you, girl. But, like, I know people talk about like that jump rope for life. Is that what it's called? I never had jump rope in school. Did you?
I remember us having double Dutch ropes on the playground, and I remember every once in a while using jump ropes in elementary school, but it was like nobody ever really taught us. It was like, here's a bunch of beads and go at it.
Yeah, try to do what you can do. And usually people are like whipping them around like a lasso.
Right. Yeah. I was a boy. I was lassoing people.
Exactly. And that's why I didn't give the pre-K kids their own rope, because I was like, they're going to all get clocked in the head. But, I think starting them this young, we're going to have world champions if they're starting at 4.
It releases by 6.
Exactly. And so after I did that, I just shared like a little clip of it on my Instagram story. I had some of these people that I knew from college and high school that are now teachers. They want to book me for their assemblies.
Nice.
And I was like, this could be my thing now. It's,
oh,
it's
that's amazing.
It like all organically kind of fell into place, but it was so much fun. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
That would be great.
Yeah.
So does the school supply jump ropes?
I have a lot. I have a lot of ropes, and I actually found on Amazon, Amazon ropes are, not the best choice, but I found some really good ropes for kids. And it was like a 40 pack for like $20. And that's right now, that's all they need. It worked out well. So it was awesome. So I think a couple more of that is to come this year for sure.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to more video of that. That would be fun.
Oh my gosh. And then of course meetups. There'll probably be another New York City meetup. I know people were asking me for dates. I like to do usually like 2 a year.
I was going to ask you about that. So did you organize one last year?
Yeah. That's the one where like PETA came and Laura M. Doc Jumps, who is just one of my like best friends. She's just amazing. Yeah, the fact that you're having people fly from Australia is wild all around the world, really. Jump Rope Chris came last year. We did a meetup together in New York.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's just, and I remember at that meetup, because we all ate lunch after, and we're like sitting at a table with just people from all around the world. And I was like, is this real life right now? Like, these are my really good friends, and I'm meeting them for the first time right now. We're just like laughing, having the time of our lives. And I feel like I've known these people I have known them for years, but
right.
It's just a bond that no one can understand until you're in it,
Yeah.
It's so great.
I've heard amazing stories from PETA and other people of going to meetups, and it's something I've not done yet. Like, I live in a small town in Minnesota, and I have given a bunch of jump ropes away, tried to convert people, but
there's no one.
Actually, so there are a few people I know who are north of me in Minneapolis, and I talked with one lady. Shamali is skipping. I don't know if you know her.
Allison.
Yeah, Allison is fantastic. So she's north of Minneapolis, and I told her we should like meet at the Mall of America and do like a little flash mob jump rope.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be great. And she's got the energy and the personality to
She
do
does.
that too.
She's fantastic.
Yes, she is. Yeah, the meetups I would definitely highly recommend if you can get to one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
So is there anything you'd love to do within the fitness or jump rope space that you haven't done yet? You've done a lot.
Yeah.
Community manager.
Yeah, I'm just keep doing what I'm doing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like,
It sounds like a ball.
It's great. It's really, really great. And it's enjoyable.
So for people who are just discovering jump rope, or maybe maybe they were like me and they saw some really impressive videos on Instagram and YouTube and are thinking, man, that looks cool. I don't know if it's for me. What sort of advice do you give people who are thinking about it?
I always tell people, number one, get a rope. You don't have to be investing hundreds of dollars in a rope. I started with a rope from Target. Obviously, some ropes will make it easier. Get a rope, set up your phone. Seconds Pro is what I recommend, a free app. And you just set a timer, circuit, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds rest, and stop at 5 minutes. And that's what you have to do to start. And then when you wake up the next day, assess how you're feeling. Don't go jumping for, however long you jump.
Yeah. Don't do 2 hours in the driveway on Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Exactly. So just 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and just stop at 5 minutes. The next day, if you're feeling great, do it again, maybe add another set of 30 seconds. And that's all it comes down to, is just those short intervals. You're just getting used to it. And if you trip up, you trip up. Not the end of the world. We all trip. And that's why I like showing all those videos of the learning process and tripping and hitting myself in the head, because it happens to everyone. Maybe everyone's not showing it, but we're all tripping.
Oh yeah.
I trip like 99% of the time. The first skip, I trip. Like I'm going outside. I'm like, I'm ready to go. Well, I always trip on that first rotation. Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
no, I do the same thing. Or I'll set my phone up and I'll have a song on and I'll think, yeah, I'm going to shuffle the heck out of this song. And
then you just like,
and I have a 10-second intro of me just shuffling, and then I bring out the rope and I whip it around and whack my shin, I can't tell you the number of times I've done that. I'm feeling so good about myself until
whack, you get it. But that's the thing. See, what's happening here though is that we're laughing. And I think a lot of people might take this, like jumping, they might take it too seriously. Like you have to be able to be silly and laugh at yourself. And if you trip, you trip. It's not the end of the world. I know it's easy to turn into the Hulk. It has happened many times for me. I have had the anger, but you just laugh it off and just don't stop, just keep going.
Yeah. One thing, I've told this story before, but one thing that really helped me is that I did overdo it insanely on Christmas Eve of 23. Yeah. And then again on Christmas Day or a Christmas night of 23, I went out and did it again, and I could not walk for 6 weeks. And during the entire time of having plantar fasciitis, I was just, all I wanted to do was dance and jump rope. And so when I was able to do it again, I was so thankful to be able to use my feet that when I would smack myself in the shin, I would laugh and I would dance. And I just laughed my ass off all the time because I made so many mistakes, but I was so thankful to be able to make mistakes. And so I try to focus on that now when I get frustrated. Like, hey, buddy, you can get frustrated now, because there was a time when you couldn't.
6 weeks? You were, oh my, did you go to physical therapy too?
I mean, honestly, I didn't have health insurance. And so I procrastinated going to the doctor, and I went to the hospital and they diagnosed me and gave me some steroids and stuff. But it was so painful that I would roll out of bed in the morning on my hands and knees and crawl to the bathroom because it was I know, it was insane.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah. Now, and so that's why I love your tip about 5 minutes, and listen to your body. Like that's tip about wake up the next morning. How do you feel?
Assess it. If you can't walk downstairs, that means you take a rest day, and with all this streaking and the 100 days going on. And I always tell people, you don't have to do a streak. It's fun for a lot of us, but a lot of us have been jumping for a long, long time. I would never suggest a beginner, unless they're incorporating rope flow into their 100 days or just standing still and practicing releases. You have to be smart about it. But that was my next question to you is, did you know about rope flow when you couldn't walk? at that time?
I had seen it, and there's a lady, Ash Skip Flo. I don't know if you know her in South Africa, and she would post stuff, and I would see that, and then I would encounter other people, but I've never done it.
Okay.
With outside of jump rope, but
right.
It looks amazing.
It's a different thing. Takes a little bit of getting used to. But I had a stress fracture in my foot 3 years ago.
Okay.
And that's when I took up rope flow, and I have it hanging here because here's the thing with these things. I make all my rope flow ropes.
Okay.
You can go to rope.com, and it's a climbing rope, and you make your own ropes for like literally $3. You just like seal the end, over the stove. Yeah. And the amount of skills I learned during that time when my foot was injured, I was able to put those skills into jumping, like a lot of like the arm wraps or like the dragon roll, like wrap around my head. And that the only reason I can do that stuff is because I was doing rope flow for a good month.
Sure.
So it's a good tool to use if anyone is injured, or if you're doing a 100-day streak and you're a beginner, you have to have those rope flow days. And there's a lot of skills that can be integrated with jump rope. It's I think it's unique and cool.
Yeah.
But it is different in that you don't get that, that adrenaline rush from jumping,
right?
That we all love. It is a more laid back kind of thing, but it is.
But
it
it's
is pretty
totally
cool.
legit practice. Like, my friend Laura, she injured her leg and couldn't jump for I think a couple months, and she just went after the releases, and now she's like a release queen. Like
that's
like I'm gonna do arm stuff.
That's a great opportunity to learn some crazy releases if you can't jump. For sure.
I thank you, by the way, for spending so much time with me. I've only got a couple more questions for you. One of them is, so I noticed that you have a YouTube channel and TikTok as well. How engaged are you on those platforms, or how do they figure into your online presence?
It's all of this social media stuff can be a lot. It's like, you post on Instagram and that's like, I gotta post on TikTok, I gotta post on YouTube Shorts. It gets to be a little much, but I've actually really been enjoying TikTok. Yeah. Not only for like jump rope, but the amount of information. Let me tell you, are you on TikTok?
What's funny is you said that you got kicked off of Instagram. I started a Dizzy Skips TikTok, and I posted like 2 videos and got banned. And I have contested it and whatever. And they're the same videos that I post to Instagram. I have no idea what happened. But
that's weird.
I know. I didn't get my account back.
Maybe the music or something?
But I had to actually
I would say start another one.
Yeah. I actually built my videos in TikTok, though, and used the music app there. So it wasn't just like I saved a video from Instagram and uploaded it.
Yeah.
I had a video of me jumping, and I just repeated my actions on TikTok. It was weird. All I figured was like, maybe there was
something weird. Something weird. I don't know. When was that?
That would have been probably like June or July, something like that.
Okay. Huh. I have heard of people getting like random bans like that.
Honestly, I didn't want to manage another social media.
I know. It's a whole nother thing. I agree. Yeah. But I've learned so much on TikTok, just random things, just very random things, not jump rope related, but I enjoy going on TikTok and watching videos there. And it's like a whole nother audience, which is pretty neat. Like people that don't even know about my Instagram follow me on TikTok because they don't use Instagram.
I was going to ask you, like, how do you find the audiences differ between the platforms?
YouTube, I get the most hate comments, actually. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's very weird.
Who has the energy for that stuff, by the way?
Trolls sitting in their parents' basement, probably. And those kind of things. I either, it depends on the mood I'm in, because sometimes I do enjoy a good clap back. Like I like, I'm going to fight with you. This is fun. But I delete, I don't even pay any mind to it. But TikTok is very rare to get a hate comment there. And I recently had a scare. So I had a mammogram done in December, and it came back abnormal, which was I'm almost 42. My second cousin passed away from breast cancer. So the thoughts going through my head were insane. Mm-hmm. And on a whim, I made a TikTok video, And just the amount of women and support, it was overwhelming,
Wow.
to be honest with you.
Wow.
It actually like eased my mind because all these people were like stitching it and making videos and replies saying like they had the same experience and this is exactly what it's going to be like when you go back for the biopsy. And, you know, if I posted it on Instagram, I would have gotten that same response probably from my group of followers, but I don't know if it would have reached anybody. I don't know. Sure. But something happened in the TikTok algorithm and it just reached all of these women that either had breast cancer or are going through the same thing. And it was just, it helped a lot. So yeah, I don't know how TikTok, I don't really know how the algorithm works, but
yeah,
it was very comforting.
That's good.
Yeah. But biopsy came back. I'm all good. So.
Well, that's the important part.
Yeah, I know. It was very nerve wracking, but.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. But I would say make another account. You might like it over there.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to get to the point where I can hire a community manager.
That's it. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. Sounds like you need a lot more than I do.
I have such a problem though. Like, I don't want anyone else talking to like people think like, you know, I don't want anyone thinking they're talking to me and it's not me. It's like push and pull, you know?
Yeah.
So I always get back to as many people as I can. If I don't, or if anyone's listening and I haven't responded to, I'm so sorry. Just DM me again. It'll come back to the top.
You could hire an assistant and call her like faux Kathy Jumps. And
then oh my gosh. Or if I ever do hire someone, it has to be someone in the community or someone that knows jump rope, you know, not just some, you know.
Yeah. So that they can represent you well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So as far as where people can engage with you now, so on Instagram, you're Kathy Jumps.
Mm-hmm. All one word, Kathy Jumps. It's across the board. TikTok is Kathy Jumps and YouTube is Kathy Jumps. Same. Yeah. And then my website is kathyjumps.com.
Jumps. It's so easy to remember.
It is. It's all the same.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so if people are interested in your subscription, they go to Instagram right now. Mm-hmm. And then presumably you'll keep people posted as you work on your site.
Yeah. By summer, I'm going to have it's called the studio, like a back-end studio. So think of it like joining a gym. You can go in, access whatever programs, or if you want to do like a beginner or certain tutorials, I'll have it all set up. So I'm hoping probably by June, July, it'll be done.
That's so cool. And will you be doing, when you do that, will you also be doing like periodic Zoom classes? I think you mentioned that you bring people in at some point.
Yeah, that's the fun with the Instagram subscription is I'll pull everyone, because that's the thing, we're all in different time zones, you know? So maybe it's, 2 p.m. for me, but it's 10 p.m. for someone else. So we try to find a good, middle ground. And we all jump together. We do something called create a combo where we each kind of throw out a trick and then we all have a trick and we just put it together. We try to, have a fun thing. There's one person in my subscription. She knows who she is. She always throws in like a ground cross.
What is a ground cross?
Oh my gosh. So like
is that when you throw your rope?
No, like the caboose this is real crab walking where you bend over and the rope goes through.
Yeah.
Goes through your legs and then over. So, but it's a challenge. It challenges us all and we're all giggling and laughing. So getting stuck in the rope.
Yeah. Whipping yourselves.
Yes. So it's fun. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Well, Kathy, I can't thank you enough for coming on and John about jump rope with me.
Of course.
It's been a pleasure
we could
talking
go on for another hour or
two.
Two.
Well, we'll do it again then.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for having me on.
It's my absolute pleasure. And thank you for putting out such amazing content. I've learned some great things from you. And I know a whole bunch of people who have already been on the podcast and cited you as a big inspiration to them. So
that makes me
thanks
so
for
happy.
everything you do for the community.
I love it.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging with me on the Jump Rope Podcast. I really appreciate your support. You can help us by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts, giving us a good rating, posting a comment, and telling your friends. Thank you so much.